Hey there, this is Anthony from Maestro Music Centers in Levittown, Long Island. And last week I posted a video on an AT-90 SL, and I was using the style orchestrator. And I wanted to do that before I actually explained a little bit about the style orchestration function and how that works, because I don't know that the people that have the AT-900, 800 Platinum models understand that that function sort of is still relevant to using the instruments. On the AT-900 Platinum, they removed the ability inside of the instrument to convert it into the format that I used in last week's video, because the new programming inside of the Platinum, which has really high level fidelity and quality of sound for the patterns and the drums and the rhythms, has a slight delay as it moves through. It's sort of tied in conjunction with the adaptive chord voicing technology that that model also has for the chords to make the changes in the patterns much smoother. So to alleviate that, they took the function in the rhythm, and you can make the AT-900 Platinum model just a regular AT-900 model. On an AT-900 model, whether it's the original, the Artist Series, or the ATUP Update one, you can go into the rhythm option and convert it back to an S series. If you do that on the top of the main menu, you will notice on the bar a little S in a box that's there to let you know that your instrument is now set in S series mode. And I like to just tell you that because you can convert it back, and if you do that, there was a little template that came with your instrument that would overlay right here on the rhythm section, and it would go around the introduction, ending buttons and whatnot, and it would have a 2 variation and a 2 original, and it sort of changes the break and the intro buttons to do other things. But you could put that down and it would function very much like this model does. Now there were some benefits to that because I had a lot more flexibility in the rhythm styles as far as what was pre-programmed. I would have kind of a variation, 4 variations and 4 original patterns. The new series, if you have the Update or a Platinum, when you're in the part balance monitor screen where you touch a volume control and the little equalizer shows up, there's a little green arrow on the top right, and if you press that, that will bring you to the actual style, and you can change the volume level of the parts of the style. I can't do that here. So on that one I can more customize physically the rhythm, and then I can save it into the presets. Here I'm playing live, so I appreciate the fact that I can play live and I have those buttons. So I'd like to tell you just a couple things that I like to do before I play all these videos for you, because I like my instrument set up a certain way that works for me. I do not play with a lot of presets generally. I like to push the buttons for the sounds. It's kind of old school. It's not really the way people play today. Everyone plays with presets, but this is how I do it. So one of the first things that I do is I go into the sound and keyboard screen, and my very first step is usually to hit the effect, and I like the wall type to be wood. On some models I'll change the reverb type to Hall 2 or Hall 1. Right now I have this one set on Hall 1 with a wood. Wood is my choice for my reverb wall material. I exit out of that, and then the very next thing I do is I go up to where it says upper, and I touch upper, and there's multiple pages. So the first thing that I do on the first page is I octave shift my solo down an octave, because a lot of times I'll put the solo down here. I don't want to play too far up on the keyboard. I like to play a little bit lower, so I like to bring the octave down so that the sound comes out the way I expect it. I will then go forward to the second page, and on that page I turn the initial touch on. The initial touch deals with the sensitivity of the key. I put it about 8 to 10. 8 is the minimum number to give you the most flexibility. And I can show you this right now if I use the scatting. So with it set on 8, when I touch the keys, I'm going to get multiple levels of sound for the instrument. So let me go, oh, I just hit too many screens back. Let me first put it on 7. Bop is the last sound I can get. When I go to 8, I get 5 different sounds out of this thing. So I do, change that sensitivity to at least 8. I play piano, so my touch is relatively heavy. That's the next thing that I do. Then I usually go to the very last page, 6 for the upper, and I change the solo mode to be polyphonic, which means I can play chords with that sound if I want, instead of top note. All right? At that point, I would go to the lower keyboard. And then I usually, truthfully, I bring the pages back to like the first page so that it's set for octave shift if I want to change it. The Platinum, your octave shift is on the menu screen, but everybody else's, you have to get to the screen to change the octave. I also, if I'm going to use jazz organ in a song, I take the reverb level of that down, because jazz organ didn't have that. So I lower that to about 3 or 4. Then I go to lower, and in the lower section, I generally do the same thing. I turn the initial touch on. I like the touch sensitivity. I put it about 8. And that's really all I do on the bottom. Okay? So the last thing I do, I exit back, I touch split point. And right now this one is set on B4. I usually move it down to G. So I bring it down a few notes so I can at least play. I have no sound on. Right here. Okay? I don't use G, so I'll leave G as my split point note. The next note is chord. So I make a G4, and I have my range from this G to the end for the right hand, so I can use under button 5 here, that C as middle C. Okay? For myself, when I play. So that's how I would start before I do anything else. Now I'm going to go to my rhythm. Now because I'm doing that, I'm not going to use one touch. I'm picking a rhythm. I'm using right now a guitar rumba. It's on the original, and it's set on basic, number 1. So on the new models, the style orchestrator, which used to say basic, advanced 1, advanced 2, and full, just says variation 1, 2, 3, 4. When you use the one-touch program on these models, presets 1 and 2 are always original, and 3 and 4 were always variation. Well, it's still that way on the newer models. Kind of the second 2 buttons are the more elaborate variation rhythms, and the first 2 are simpler patterns. So I'm on an original already and the basic. I put it down there. I'm going to use my introduction. Well, sync start so that when I key my chord it'll play. And I play my chord. I've got nothing else on. If you want the automatic pedal to play on a Roland, do not pick a sound. If you don't want anything solid on the bottom, do not pick a sound. The main difference that you notice on this from the newer models is the newer models have drawbars, and this one had actual tab buttons that we can press. I've had this set to be on theater. The new sample technology in the newer models is definitely better. The Platinum is the best, but there's a little more tremulant in our theater sound on this one, and I didn't know until recently that the volume level of the footages are actually controlled with the volume level for the organ sections for both upper and lower. So I can use this as a volume control when I'm using them. If I touch flute, that gives me the drawbars on the screen, and I can change them. Again, on the updated AT-900s and on the Platinum, you have 2 different types of flute, jazz and rock, kind of like we had on the older Roland model AT-90Rs and AT-90s. You had 2 flute 1, flute 2. And then pipe, which is a Rogers. And then the theater, which also comes from Rogers. So they're on. At some point I'll layer those sounds in and use them. But right now, just the background is going to play, just the style. Now you can determine, I'm going to turn off the intro a minute, if you want, let's say, just no bass. Then put a bass sound on, and it cuts the bass out. I know it's not easy to hear. Let me take out the accompaniment and the drums. So I've turned on string bass. You hear nothing. I turn off string bass, and it plays the bass, so I don't have to play it. So if I want just the bass and drums, put on a footage. There it is. Now if I want it to hold, put the hold button on. So you're listening to my sound, an organ sound on the bottom, a drum beat and an automatic bass line. I am keying chords, so the bass is correct. If I pull up the accompaniment, there's my band. It's a guitar. Press advanced 1, drums are different. I went to advanced 2, there was more in the background. I'll change my sound. Let's go to full, original full. I'm going to go to the variation. So I'm going to press the button first, and then I'm going to bring the style orchestrator back down. Not to basic, I'll go to advanced 1. So now I'm on the variation of the rhythm, advanced 1. Alright, so I thought that would give you a good idea of how I'm making these and what I'm doing when I'm playing these videos, so you get a better idea of how I'm using the instruments. And it doesn't matter whether I'm on this AT-90 SL or I'm on a Platinum or on an AT-900, I do it all kind of the same way. I have the same concept behind how I use the instruments. They're all incredible. Obviously the sound quality keeps getting better and better and better. If you can afford the sound quality, go for it. It's definitely worth it. If you can, I'm sure your dealer has options available for you as well. If you have not upgraded your AT-900 models to the update kit, I highly recommend you do so. I have my own at home updated. I have a 900 C at home that's updated. It makes it close to a Platinum as far as its capability, rhythms and sound-wise, but it'll definitely improve the experience of playing. There's some really fabulous stuff in there, and it's really worth investing in your instrument. It'll raise the value and keep it up more prominent, and you'll be able to actually share data with a Platinum, which you can't really do unless you have that update. So if there's one in the store, that will help you a lot. All right? Thanks for watching. Have a great week.